And Joe Newman from AltJ joins me now. Joe, thank you so much for coming on the Green Room podcast today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's very exciting. Not only are we just at the beginning of 2022, I know it's already been a bit of a strange year for many of us, but some joy that we are imminently being gifted is The Dream, which is, of course, AltJ's fourth studio album. But I guess, to start off with, it has been a little bit of time now since we last got a brand new AltJ album, obviously since Relaxer. Then you guys did the remix album. But how does it feel to reach this point, particularly with what's been going on over the last 2 and a bit years?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, I think, for us. We took 2019 out after touring the last album, Relaxer. I think we just needed time to reconnect with friends, family, and just ourselves. And so we had that year out, and then we came back the beginning of 2020, and the pandemic just happened, and everything, the world was just this huge pause button. So it actually was an opportunity for us to keep writing and do what we would do ordinarily under kind of extraordinary situations. So but it's nice to be on the precipice of releasing something. It's just it's what we do, and it comes around not that often, actually, the moment that you use. And so it's really exciting for us.
Yay. Well, it's exciting all around, I think, too. The fans and obviously all of us here in Australia are so excited about it. But going back a ways, Relaxer kind of gave a little bit of everything. We got string sections and there were so many diverse sonic flourishes. When it came time to The Dream, was there a game plan back in the day? Did you have a pretty firm idea of where you wanted to head? I know there are some darker themes this time around, and you've still got really interesting flourishes, but, cheekier moments as well. But overall, was the plan to capture some of life's less rosy moments with this one?
Your game plan probably is executed only as far as the songs that you're writing at the time. I don't think we think about a general mood to the album. But what we've always done is we just sort of take a song at a time. And I think when you look back on the first 3 or 4 songs, for example, you can easily start seeing sort of themes like love, loss, maybe true crime, and the claustrophobia and paranoia and general kind of sort of loss of control of the pandemic. I think they kind of influence the writing. But there's no game plan, I don't think, until and actually, when you release an album, it's actually quite a cathartic process, because you can release the work, and then it's exposed to the general public and your fans, and then they will almost sort of volley back their experience of the album, and by doing that, you are told what the album is, in a way. So it's actually, we're not quite there. We're not quite at the stage where we understand the album. I think that's only 6 months after we release the album that the feedback is really important to understanding the body of work.
Yeah, it's amazing too, with how much personal stuff would go into an album like this, and the way you guys seem to craft, and your songwriting in particular. It is incredible that something so personal can translate to be something so universal, even if it wasn't necessarily that initial intention. So it's always amazing to see, it's a combined effort sometimes in unpacking things. But we've had some sneak peeks already, obviously, with The Dream. And most recently, I was really excited to see your directorial debut for Hard Drive Gold, and a nice link to Australia too. I have to obviously put that in there. But you have had a hand in developing the videos over the years, of course, but how was it to officially step into the director's chair this time around?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, it's just I was working with my partner Darcy, and a Melbourneian. Is that right? Melbourneite?
I'm from the Gold Coast. Let's just say you're right, and we'll fact check.
Right. Yeah.
My boss is from Melbourne, so he can correct us if we're correct or not.
Right.
I think you're right. But go on.
Yeah, so we worked on this video together, and it was full on. I mean, like, being a director is confusing. You do everything and nothing. It's like, well, on the day you're involved in the process, but there's so many people that make the film happen around you, and you have to trust everyone. And at the same time, you're making decisions from the inception to kind of the conclusion, and it's so much fun, and it's such a great experience if you love working within a team. It happens, and it's like you kind of wonder how it all happened and how it was all achieved, but you were there every step of the way, so it was a really, really amazing process.
Yeah, I love it. And I think like the fact you survived it and lived to tell a tale with a smile on your face says it all. But is it something you would turn your head to again in a hurry, or are you happy to kind of just have a bit of input and just let it happen?
No, I think no. I mean, like, both Darcy and I, we're kind of a duo, and we caught the bug. I mean, it's so much fun. I mean, we're so privileged to be able to work at the level that we were working at. Most directors have to spend years and years and years to reach where we started. So it's addictive, I think. And working with Darcy was one of the greatest experiences of my career, because she's just super talented, and she has the ability to kind of bring you back down to earth very quickly and remind you that what's possible, what's not possible, and at the same time also encourage you. And I think it's like a really, really important process to go through something like that with someone that you trust. And it was just, it's brilliant.
I love this. The dream team. I'm excited to see what you guys are going to cook up in the future. This sounds very exciting and also addictive. I'm like, never thought about it in my life. And now you're kind of selling me on the idea, but I might just leave it to you guys. You seem to have a good.
It's funny because like a lot of people in the industry, like the film industry, there's so many jobs in that industry. And like a lot of people dream to be a director, but it's like, it's so hard to be a director because like it's so much decision making, and you can get fatigued with all the decisions that you have to make, or you have to basically keep everyone, like, one of the big things about directing is you have to keep everyone on track. You have a vision, and you have to basically, it's like herding cats sometimes. You have to corral everyone in the same direction that you want to go in, and actually that's hard. And I mean, I wouldn't. The payoff is just amazing, because it's so amazing, because you're literally creating a world. You're defining the parameters of a world that you want people to see, and it's like really, really exhilarating. So it's worth it. So anyone that wants to get into directing, like, it's like you're creating your own world, and there's nothing better than that.
I love that. And it's just such a beautiful manifestation of your art too, that is just evolving with each release you guys seem to put out. And I know like live music has kind of been off the menu for a lot of people for a long time. That is slowly coming good. We're slowly coming into something that has some semblance to it. But is there a particular song on the dream? Not that I want you to play favorites, but is there one you absolutely cannot wait to play live? Like any personal favorites that you just are absolutely itching to finally play on stage?
I think, there are songs that I look forward to playing with the band, and there are songs that I really look forward to just singing. And one of those songs, the foremost, it's called Walk a Mile, and it's kind of just like a country bluesy, soul infused song, which is I think maybe something that it's more instinctive to me, and the music I used to listen to when I was younger. I listened to a lot of soul music, and actually that was something that was kind of my first experience of like music that actually meant something. Just the voice as a weapon almost. And so I listened to that that sort of era of music. And I didn't realize that it had such an impact on me. And then I started singing this song, and I realized that that's kind of like my roots in a way of where my voice has come from, but what I want it to sound like. And so I really look forward to singing it live. And I also like have a guitar solo in that song, which I'm very proud of, and like playing that and singing at the same time. I'm gonna feel really good playing it and singing it. It's gonna make me feel good.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Having a bit of a shred and some soul all in one go. I love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I had to listen through, like, I did adore that one. Another one I kept coming back to was Happier When You're Gone. There is just something about that. It just picked me up and took me to some magic place and just sat me down. And so I have to thank you for that, because it was very needed.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. That's, that was a song where the guitar riff was actually originally a bass riff. Ooh. And it was from 2008. And it was originally a song called I'm a Robber from the 70s. But we have no recording of that song. So I only have it in my memory, but I can never recall it enough for it to be the song that it once was. So I took the riff and I just wrote a new song. And actually I wrote that in Melbourne. I wrote that in Carlton, of all places.
Oh my God. You're an honorary Australian. You've probably been more places than I have, I swear to God.
Well,
I love this. Yeah, it's also like a time-travelling riff, which I'm kind of into as well. I like this a lot.
Time-travelling riff. Yeah, no, that's a nice way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah. We, a lot of what we write isn't from a period of time that people would maybe expect. I think there's maybe there's an assumption that new work is written in the time in which you finish the last album and you begin the new one. But actually, if you're anything like us, we record everything and kind of store it. We kind of squirrel it away, and if there's not a place for it on like the second album or the first album, your just body holds on to it. It's like, your body knows the score. And as I say, it's true with music as well. It will retain what's important to you, and you just hold on to it until you know when you can release it and it makes sense to you. So that was a song that it came from 2008. And but then fast forward 11 years, 12 years, and I had just a sentiment that I'd written a long time ago called I'm Happy When You're Gone, and it really fitted with the riff, and they kind of gelled so beautifully. You can't not write a song when that happens, and that's just that's what the process was.
Pure magic coming together. Like, I love those moments too, when it's not that it's not, it's already there, obviously, somewhere out in the ether, but when it just all falls into place at that perfect moment. Like, if I could bottle that sensation of just everything being at the right time at the right place, I just love that to death. So, and even better because it was my favorite song. So it makes me very happy.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I guess with the live stuff too, like, I mean, I know it's been a little while now, but to time travel a little bit back to like the really early AltJ days, like, I know you guys met at uni. There was so much obviously going on when you were doing everything. What was the first official AltJ gig? Where was it? Was it a success? Who was there? Do you remember that key moment where this kind of shifted into being something not just a hobby?
It's a very memorable moment. It was back in it was just before we broke for Christmas in 2008, and we were all living in university in the UK. I think it's slightly different in Australia. I think a lot of people stay at home for university, but in the UK, it's an opportunity to leave the nest. And so most people do that. And so the first year we were in halls, which is like halls of residence, which is just like, you know, fun. And then you start make all the friends you make in the first year, you then basically come together and you find a landlord and you're like, we want to live here. And so we had this amazing house that was like a 8-bedroom Victorian house, that it was kind of built like for students basically, and a kind of like long-suffering kind of neighbor who just like couldn't stand that like the area that we lived in was sort of like predominantly dominated by students. But we lived there and we decided all these songs that we were writing, we were like, we should play a gig. And actually I think at the time half the band was just like, no, we're not playing live. Like, we're writing songs because it's just like, it's something you can do in our downtime. And like, we pushed, like, I think with Gus was just like, well, you know, we want to play to an audience, and like, why are we writing songs if not to play live? And like, it was a daunting prospect, but we decided to invite all of our friends to this house, and we set up our gig in the living room, and about 50 people showed up, all of friends of friends and friends. And I think everyone was just like expecting it to be a bit of a knees up, like, oh yeah, these guys are going to play some music, and then we'll just get drunk and just have a good time. And actually we played these 6 songs that we'd been working on, and a lot of people were just like pretty surprised actually by how good the songs were. And like afterwards they sort of independently took us to one side, and like, we all have a similar memory of the experience, and they all took us to one side and they were just like, you're actually pretty good. And I think that was like the catalyst in sort of like us deciding that we wanted to pursue this, like, if not like just for the rest of our university career, we just wanted to keep doing it. So actually that was my first memory of so that's a big memory for me actually, and it was quite a turning point. But actually that gig you can find on YouTube. Like, someone recorded these like 3, I think they recorded 2 songs, and it's on YouTube, and we sound good, you know, we're tight. And then like in the new year we did the same setup, and I just got extraordinarily drunk and we sounded shit. So, you know,
the magic of having 50 people in your living room and annoying the neighbors can't be recreated sometimes, can it?
No, it can't be. No.
Well, and what an incredible thing. I mean, you guys have come from these uni days where, you know, so many bands start at uni and think that, oh, this is it. But you guys you've become something so much, you know, it's what everyone's attaining for. A direct quote is that you guys are one of the most successful British bands of the millennium. That's like the whole millennium at this point in 2022 already. So given that status, like, are you at a point now where this just feels normal every day? Like, do you still experience any pinch me moments at this point, or are you just along for the ride and just able to just go with the flow and let it happen?
I mean, you do have pinch me moments, and they're often like being at festivals and seeing like artists and bands that you listened to when you were younger, and you know, they were involved in your like a decision to keep doing what it is that you really like to do. But it's funny, it's kind of an interesting, because it's the dream for all of us. It's almost like the cliched dream job, you know. And what's interesting is actually coming to terms with how the dream job is still work, and it's hard, and I think it's interesting. I think I'm pinching myself all the time, but like, it's like, I can't believe there's so many things I can't believe. But you just live through it, and it is what it is. And I mean, like, a lot of the time I'm just like, how many worlds are there that exist alternative universes where I'm not doing this, and what is my consciousness in this world? It's like, how lucky am I that I'm in this world doing this job? Because, like, you know, it could so easily have been something completely different and more kind of relatively normal, maybe more heartbreaking. I don't know. Like, it just seems so unusual that I'm doing this. So I guess, yeah, it is. I could so easily not be doing this, and like, yeah, everything just fell in place.
Yeah,
and we were very lucky and fortunate, and I'm now doing this. It is unusual, but you get used to how unusual it is, and it just becomes normal.
Yeah, the levels of normality are very malleable, aren't they, in a life that like that? But I feel like the album title in itself that is really, really pertinent for what you are doing, and you guys are gifting that out to so many people. But being the very busy man that you are, I will only ask one more question. Given I have got you here on the Green Room podcast today, what is one key item that you like to have in your own backstage or green room when you are able to tour and get on the road?
That's a good question. Well, there was a period of time where we had clean socks. And by clean socks, I mean new socks.
Yeah.
And that was one thing, new socks. But for me, I think that avocado. I mean, it's one of those, I believe it's a fruit.
Yes.
And it's, as an Australian, I'm sure you can attest to it being vital to fabric of life. And it's also, I think it contains all the properties that you need to survive a long and prosperous life. So if something was awful was to happen and I had an avocado or sort of a supply of avocados, I think I'd be okay. But yeah, no, I think avocados are key on the rider. Avocados. Avocados.
That's brilliant. It covers your bases. And actually, next time you're in Australia, there is a brewery up on the northern New South Wales coast where they actually make an avocado Kolsch beer, and it is absolutely to die for. I have got addicted to it, have to stop drinking it because it's a little bit too delicious, but that's also something fun to potentially throw in the mix for you.
That will be on the rider.
There you go. We'll level it. It's just avocado everything. We'll get you wallpaper. We've got it sorted. I'll sort it out. It's fine.
Great.
So, well, Joe, I'm so grateful you could join me. And I know here in Australia, we're all absolutely pumped to eventually be able to witness the dream live in action. But in the meantime, congratulations on such an incredible release and for surviving all the insanity of the past couple of years to actually reach this point. And we are just so excited. It's finally coming out.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Yay. And I'll get that avocado beer sorted. I'll get on the phone.
Right.
With Tiana Speter is a euphony podcast, created by Craig Treweek, produced by Tiana Speter and Andrew Mast, hosted by Tiana Speter, recorded, edited, and engineered by Zig Parker, music by Zig Parker.